Hello. In this video, I'd like to show you how to solve equations where x, our mystery number, is being multiplied by a fraction. So how are we going to handle that? So that's what this video is going to show you here. Let's start with this one. If I'm looking at this, I want to see how to get rid of that fraction. First thing I have to do is I have to back up a little bit, and I have to talk about reciprocals for just a minute. If you take a fraction, you want to find what its reciprocal is, you just take that fraction, take the numerator and the denominator, and flip them over. So if I have the fraction of 2/3, its reciprocal is 3/2. If I have the number 4, 4 is really 4/1. So if I just flip 4/1, it becomes 1/4. So 4 and 1/4 are reciprocals. -6/5 and 5/6 are reciprocals. And here's why reciprocals will help us solve this equation. The product of a number and its reciprocal is always 1. In other words, the product, when you multiply, if you multiply a number and its reciprocal, you always get 1. Here's an example. 3/4, flip it, times 4/3. That's equal to 1 because 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 divided by 12 is 1. It works every time you multiply a number and its reciprocal. So let's see how that helps us on this equation here. So I've got our mystery number times 2/5 plus 3 more gets me to a total of 9. Well, let's start with this. What if I don't want to add 3 more? What would 2/5 times x be if I didn't add 3 more? If I took away these 3, then my total would have to decrease by 3. So if I get rid of those 3 from the left side, I have to decrease my total over here on the right side, and I'm left with 2/5 times x is equal to 9 minus 3. Decrease that total by 3, that's equal to 6. So here we go. 2/5 times x equals 6. I don't really care what 2/5 of x is. What I really want to know is, what's 1 times x? 1x. I don't care about 2/5 x. I want 1x. So how do I turn 2/5 into 1? And you guessed it, you do that by multiplying 2/5 by its reciprocal. If I take that fraction and flip it, I get 5/2. And the reason that turns into 1 is because 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 divided by 10 is equal to 1. So those two fractions simplify to just be 1. 1 times x. But this is an equation. The two sides are the same. If I multiply one side by 2/5, I better multiply the other by if I multiply one side by 5/2, I have to multiply the other side by 5/2, or else the equations won't be balanced anymore. And when I do, I get 6 times 5 is 30, and 1 times 2 is 2, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. So 1 times x, or just x, is equal to 15 in this case. 2/5 of x plus 2/5 of 15 is 6. How about over here? Does it still work when the fraction is a negative? Let's see. First thing to do is I want to know what this total is without taking away these 5. The mystery number times -3/4 minus 5 equals 13. Well, what if I don't subtract those 5? If I don't subtract these 5, if I get rid of those 5 negatives, I'm going to basically increase my total by 5. So let's see what I've got. -3/4 times x is equal to 13 plus 5 is 18. So now I'm left here again. -3/4 times x is equal to 18. But I don't care what -3/4 of x is. I want to know what 1x is equal to. So let's get rid of this fraction of -3/4, and we do that by multiplying by the reciprocal. If I turn that fraction upside down, I have 4/-3, and 4 times -3 is -12. Negative 3 times 4 is also negative 12. Negative 12 times negative 12 is 1. So those two simplify down to 1. If I multiply the left by 4 over negative 3, I multiply the right by 4 over negative 3. And here's a little pro tip for you. Instead of having to do 18 times 4, which gives you a pretty big number, then dividing that by 3, let's divide by 3 right away. Let's do 18 divided by 3. So negative 3 divided by 3 is just negative 1. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. And now 6 times 4 is 24. And 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And 24 divided by negative 1 is negative 24. It's getting kind of small there, but that says negative 24, which means my 1x, x in this case, must be equal to the negative number, negative 24. So that is how you can handle equations that have a fraction as a coefficient. I hope this was helpful.